boys and girls, welcome to Tinkercad Lesson 2. In this lesson, we're going to learn more about shapes and the options you have when designing with different shapes. We'll then look at how you can customize shapes to really fit your design. Then we'll go into the workplane and how you manipulate the workplane to see all angles of your design. And finally, we will learn how to add a ruler and then change the measurements used in your grid. All right, so let's get started. For more shapes, over here on the right-hand side, you're going to see that you have all these shapes here, and then even more. What I really wanted to show you was featured shape generators. So other people have made these shapes and you have access to see things that are already made. One that I really like is this United States. So if you drag that over here, you'll see that you have New York right now. And you can come over here and we can actually go and find any state you want. So here we now have Virginia, and then all you have to do is resize it. You can change how high it's going to be just by moving this here. Learned. Now, one thing with these is you'll see that I have starred these. The gold star indicates that I've added it to my favorites. So if you see something that you want to use, maybe you see that you're going to want this gear, all you do is you click on the star and it will turn it gold, and then you'll see in your favorites in your collection, you'll see all the things that you have starred if you want to use them in later projects or you really want to work with that in your current project. When we're customizing shapes, it's really important to know that even though you see a shape here, when you drag it onto your work plane, you can really customize exactly what it's going to look like. So right now, this has 4 sides, but I can change that and I can have it have 9 sides. I can bring it all the way back to 3 sides. So even though it started out with 4 sides on the base, I now have 3 sides instead on the base. And let me show you if I change that. I can change, instead of sliding, if I want an exact number and I say, okay, no, I want the number 6. I enter 6 on the keyboard and then press enter, and it will automatically change that to 6 instead of using this to scroll. I'm going to delete that and show you another one. So when I bring this box in, this pops up here on the side, and you can change the length and the width and the height here. I showed you earlier, when you click on this, you'll see your length and your width here, but I can change that. I can type. So let's say I want it to be 10 as my width, and I want the height to be, let's just say 30, enter, and my length, I want it to be 5, enter. So I can change shapes there on that side, and now you'll see it has completely changed the perfectly square cube into this rectangular prism. So what's really interesting is I can also change the radius. Even though this is a rectangle right now, if I change the radius, it is going to really curve the sides here. And you can see now that it doesn't have that square effect anymore. If you see the rounded edges that the radius has made. So as I was showing you these shapes, I was moving our work plane around a lot so that you could get a better view. And to do that, I was using this cube right here. If I want to see the top, I can click on top. If I want to see the side, I go back. And now you see the front. If I want to see the bottom, I can click here. And so I can use this to manipulate how I see my work plane, but I can also use my mouse. If I use the right click and then I hold down and I keep it on the work plane, it will rotate the work plane however I move my mouse, as long as my right click is still down. If I want to go back to my original view, I can click Home View. Then I can click the Fit All in View, so I can zoom in but still see what is on my plane. I can zoom in by clicking the plus. I can zoom out by clicking the minus, but I can also do this with the scroll on my mouse. So if I want to zoom in, I can zoom down on the scroll. If I want to zoom out, I push the scroll up on my mouse. Also, if I went to move my plane around so that I can see what is around it, I can click Shift on my keyboard and then right click on my mouse, and I can, while holding Shift and right click down, see other objects that might not be on my work plane that I need to now move. So now I see that this object is over here. I'm going to drag it back over here onto my work plane. And now as I move around and I pan the work plane, I see that nothing else is off my work plane. Now we're going to talk about the ruler. Over here on the right hand side, you'll see the word ruler. If you drag it onto your plane, so when I have my ruler, it just will give me more precise measurements, especially if I'm trying to put two objects together. I can see how far apart they'll be, and I can get a better idea of how close everything is. Now for the grid. The grid is in millimeters. If I want to change that, I go to Edit Grid right down here in the bottom right corner. I click on Edit Grid and you'll see that it is set to millimeters currently. If I want to change that, I can go to inches, then click Update Grid, and you will click there, and now my grid is all in inches. All right, boys and girls, I'm going to give you a few minutes to tinker with what I just taught you, and when you're ready, make sure you come back for the next lesson.